I don't know what to do about this. It used to stay in the fence just fine. Now it doesn't stay in the fence. Let's see here. Well, how am I supposed to do this? Show you if I can't get it to stay in the fence? There we go. There we go. All right. All right. So, talking too much today. This is after work. I've been talking a lot. All right. So, the technique, where was I? The technique I'm going to show you is actually a tiger step. So you know the tiger step. You might not call it a tiger step, but what I know of tiger all comes from white tiger. So mine doesn't look like yours, I guess. But the forms are similar, very similar. But so you're in tiger, and there's a movement here where you're in cat stance, and you go to T stance, and the slow motion is cat stance, T stance, and that's a tiger step where you up and around. And so when you're in that bladed stance, all you're doing is a tiger step. So you check, and for a moment it's going to look like a plum, not a plum, a Muay Thai check, right? But you're going to come around, and then you can go back, or you can come around and counter, or you can come around and check the next one, or you can come around, and when you get to this stance, you can teep, or you can come around and then do an inside crescent kick. So when you come around, just like this, come around, and then you do what's called a sun and moon, where, so sun and moon is sun, moon. So you can go from here and then come back around. So check, sun and moon, or you can check, counter. So you're here, check, counter, and then counter. Check, counter, counter. I see it a lot of guys when they're doing, especially if they're not used to checking kicks, and they're in this bladed stance, so it hits them, they do that. They're like, oh, and it's like half of the motion, but in the wrong direction. So instead of turning their hips, right now, that's unicorn. I'm in unicorn stance right now. So instead of turning their hips, they'll just lift their leg up like they're trying to avoid a kick, but they don't go for the counter, and they're always too late. They're always too late. They're always like, oh, I couldn't get my leg up in time. Oh. And then they get their legs taken out from under them, and eventually they're limping because they're taking damage and they're not doing anything to the opponent. I've tried instead of doing this, instead of doing that tiger step, I've tried to just side kick their leg. Kind of use it in the same way I use my crescents. But the problem is you don't have any power when you're in this stance and you're ready to throw a kick in. you don't have any power in this. So what happens is their leg has more power than you have, and he had more weight than you. So you don't have any power in this kick to kick their leg. So whenever they try to do it, whenever you hit their leg, if you hit their leg, because let's be honest, in the midst of it, you might slip and hit their gut, or you might slip and have them hit the back of your leg, your standing leg. Whenever you do that, the minute you make contact with them, they're pushing you. And if that happens, you're going to end up in a position you don't want, giving your back. Now, it's okay if you know that's going to happen. If that's part of your plan, you stop the momentum of their leg. It might sting them a little bit. So you stop the momentum of their leg. Bam. And then when you fall into this, you go into a spinning back fist. That might work. I don't have anyone to spar with. I really wish someone in the comments, if you live in Los Angeles near Baldwin Hills, I'm at the Jim Gillen Park. I come out here all the time. So if anybody wants to spar with me, great. But if when someone hits you like that, and they're gonna push you back if you try to do that. You can do a snap. So you're in the bladed stance, and whenever you see them hitting, whenever you see them going for that, you can always do a snap up, do a little mule kick, and that hits them as they're coming in. You should hit them about at this moment, and you want to hit them in the hip. You don't want to hit them in the balls in a match because you'll lose a point and get a warning. You don't want to put any real effort into hitting their hip bone because their hip bone's going to hurt you. You just want to put enough in it to stop the momentum. Because when this hip is here, it hasn't come forward yet. So they take that step to throw that kick. You want to hit them right there before that hip comes forward. And what's going to happen is, let's see if I can do it. Their leg's going to do that. Their leg's going to go here, but their hip's not going to move. Or not as much as they want it to. So they're not going to be able to get that full hip motion into it. So you can do like but you want to go forward with it. Like if you're standing here and you see them take that step, to hit, you actually just want to go forward and guard. You want to guard up here like you were doing. You want to guard. This hand stays here, guarding against. It's gonna suck if you get hit there, but you'd rather take it here than here. So you go forward and just go low with it. Bah! But back to the tiger step. When you're in that bladed stance and someone throws a kick and you see their chest, let's see if I can show you. When you see their chest start to move, and you can see it coming. They teach you that in Kung Fu, is to watch the center. Just watch their center. Don't worry about what their hands and arms are doing. Don't worry about their head. They can move their head. They can move their hips. They can move their arms. But the one thing that's not moving here is this. The one thing that's not moving there is this. So when that moves, you know that's what's actually happening. You know that's the movement. Bam! So you're in this sideways stance. I don't use a sideways stance typically when I start a fight. It's normally just bend my knees, get my hands up. But when I'm in a sideways stance, there are times in a fight when I'm bam, bam, I throw a kick, I'm in a sideways stance. I'm in back arrow, as they call it. It's a high back arrow, but it's back arrow. So this is sideways stance, and they throw a kick. I'm going to sweep it up. And I mentioned in the text that I posted on your video. I mentioned in there that it is entirely possible when this leg comes up. It's entirely possible as you come around to catch their leg. Oh, I can't show it. It's entirely possible to catch their leg in this V. And so you take it, your leg, it hits your calf and directs up to the back of your knee, but that's protected by the muscle of your calf, and it wedges it in there. And as you come around, it is entirely possible to literally pull someone off their feet. Because as I'm coming around, my leg's up here. I'm going to raise it a little bit higher than it needs to be. So my leg's up here. And I'm caught in there. As they come around, as you come around, I'm pushing that way. My leg's pushing that way, and it pulls me over there. Now, you're standing, at the end of it, you're standing in horse stance with your foot right underneath my balls. And I'm standing right here. It's a perfect time to take a double leg takedown or a hip throw, or just to bully them, just to come in swinging. So, right here, they're spread before me, phrasing, and then I can scoop in, I can scoop under, or I can just fit 1, 2, 1, 2, or in Kung Fu, or long fist like we like to do. Long fist like we like to do, just take a whole step. Just step a whole punch into it. Bah! Another thing that's happening with whenever you do this, the tiger step, whenever you do it, you use your hip. You're gonna flick your hip. You're gonna flick this butt bone down to the back foot, down to the heel of your back foot. To make it quicker, you're basically picking all the weight up off your foot, off your lead foot, picking all that weight up off of it by dropping. Another thing you can do as you're doing this, you use your hip. Where was I? Okay. The other thing you want to do is you don't have to pick your knee up way up here as if you're in long fist. You just need to pick it up as high. You need to pick it up as high as you drop low, if that makes any sense. If you, as I'm standing here in my bladed stance, and they throw that kick at me, turn my hips, I'm gonna drop. So I drop about 6 inches, maybe. I'd say it's about 6 inches. So you only need to pick your leg up about 6 inches. And your hip will do the rest, throwing your leg around. But to generate the power you need to block that kick in that motion, you have to drop and use your hip. I'm exaggerating a lot when I do that. But you want to throw, because you need forward momentum. So you're throwing this hip, your rear hip, forward. Your lead hip backwards. And that throws forward momentum that way. fact, I can demonstrate it just by putting my hand on my hip and keeping my elbow loose. Gotta hold my arm there, and just going. That's forward momentum. It looks weird. I'm not actually practicing anything. I'm just demonstrating it. And if I'm not throwing my arm. I'm just. So that's that forward momentum you need, and you need that forward momentum. By the time your hip gets forward, your knee needs to be up in this position. And then when it's in this position, that is, I need to tie my shoe. That is a check. As it comes around, it lands. And you need your hips to swap places at the same time your foot comes down. Because if it doesn't, if your foot comes down and then you're turning, I just twisted my knee. Here, I'll show you. Okay, completed stance, proper motion, improper motion. Proper motion, improper motion. See if I can even do it. Improper motion. I've twisted my knee. I don't know if you can see that from way over there, but I've twisted my knee. And let's say that I don't check the kick. Let's say I just avoid the kick. Well, that leg's going to hit me here. And that's going to destroy my day. Now I'm way back over there. I need to tie my shoe real quick. You can't see me, but I'm still here. Just tying my shoe. These shoes need to be replaced. I have used all the good out of them. So, what's next? That's one shoe. What's next? So the tiger step can be used twice. In the tiger form, it is used twice. It's used twice back to back. They use it as part every master I've ever seen demonstrate how to use it properly. I don't want to say they're wrong. They're not wrong. There's just more than one way to demonstrate it, and they always choose the same one. But they demonstrate it as a grab. So they're saying you grab an incoming strike, which is stupid. Like, I've done it before, but like not against someone who knows what they're doing. But when you're here, they do one strike, two strikes, and they always demonstrate it. Like you grab one arm and you come down, and you yank the person down, and then when they throw another counter strike, you do it again. To me, that's not the best use of that motion. This definitely works, but not as a block, not as a grab. It's always good when you're fighting, and they do this in Kenjutsu as well. I know a little bit of a very little bit of Kenjutsu, but a lot of the motions you see where they pull up their sword, it's always they put their sword between them and their opponent. And so when they move here and they strike, and same for Kung Fu, whenever they do that, those motions aren't to be pretty. It's just this is a, like, kind of using your sword as a shield just in case. Because because having something there is better than having nothing there. So it's not, you're not really intended, whenever you make a strike like that, you're actually guarding, you're preemptively guarding anyway. It was designed that way in a form to preemptively guard the most likely strike from a given direction. Doesn't mean it's always going to protect you, but that's the same thing with these, where you don't block. You're not blocking. You're just putting your hands there in case, to absorb some momentum if someone throws a strike. So if someone hits your arm, if someone throws a punch, like a hook, and your arm hits, and they hit your arm on the way past, that's going to slow it down enough that it's not going to hurt you so much, especially if you're moving away from it, right? So that tiger step where they go 1, 2. I don't know the whole form. That they always demonstrated it as like, grab the person. I'm sorry, grab the person, hit them in the face. To me, that's like the worst demonstration of how to use that. The tiger step is literally, in my opinion, the best use for the tiger step is as a block, or as a checking the kick. But in Kung Fu, everything has more than one use. For example, that leg grab. When they throw that kick, if you can get that, oh, I did it wrong, see? If you can get that leg up as you come around, and you can grab their leg, it puts you in a very advantageous position. Doesn't mean you'll actually get that off. And a lot of times in a fight, people won't even notice if it happens. Like, you're fighting and someone throws a kick, someone throws that big heavy leg kick, and you actually get the tiger step off, and you pull them out of position. People aren't going to realize that you did that on purpose. They're just gonna be like, oh, the guy lost his balance. I've seen it happen before where someone throws a kick and someone does a swooping tiger step, and they catch it just right where the leg just gets stuck, and then they just grab their leg and hold the leg there and pull. I've seen that happen once in a sparring match. I wish I had been the one to do it, but my friend DePio actually did it. He was a Taekwondo guy. And he was standing there, and he'd throw a side kick, just a little probing side kick, and his opponent checked it and popped in with just one of those, and DePio just whoop, grabbed it, and it was impressive. DePio lives in Los Angeles. I haven't seen him in like 20 years now. I need to see if he sees this. Jim Gillen Park, come kick me in the gut again. So I think that's all I have to say about that. Just tiger step. That's how you block it. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I will see you next time, and I look forward to your next fight, man. 24 minutes of me rambling and talking about stuff you probably already know, but I'd like to see you do some more practicing of Kung Fu. I'll talk to you later, man.